So, how big is your dream? I think it's a very interesting question when you are looking at how do I kind of get started in the art world, and what do I need to know, and what do I need to be thinking about? What questions should I be asking? What do I like to make? There's a lot of questions I think on the front end, but one of the questions that I think you ask yourself probably many, many times. I think I definitely have asked myself this question many times, and I feel like I probably will continue to ask myself this question, but kind of what's my dream in the art world? The reality is I haven't really known. I have bits and pieces of it, but it's not had a lot of clarity. And I think that it's only been in recent years that it has become a little bit more clear. So I'm kind of taking it one step at a time, rather than assuming I have it all figured out, because the truth is I really don't know what'll happen with this art. I just know some of the things I would love to see happen. So I think the big question is, if I could take my art someplace, what is sort of my ideal idea for that? And the clearest picture I've been able to form in my mind is I can imagine this public facing business that has four components to it. One of them would be my art gallery. One of them would be the gift shop for smaller items. Part of it would be the art studio where art education is happening. And then the last piece of it would be like a cafe. And I would put all these things together under one roof. And it would be ultimately a self-represented gallery, the Adam Smith Gallery. So that is sort of the bigger goal, right? The smaller goal is the shorter term goal, which is what do I have to accomplish this year to take one more step towards that bigger one? And I thought about it today. I had drawn like a little diagram of basically me in a tent, like the traditional 10 foot by 10 foot tents that you see at art fairs and festivals. And then the second step, which is a physical studio space that can double sometimes as like a pop-up gallery. And that's where I'm at right now. This room only fits so many people in it. And so if I wanted to do anything more than this, I'd probably be looking at a bit larger space. And so I started thinking through some of the galleries that I've been in around the area, and some of the galleries that I've been in across the country. And there's obviously quite a wide range in all of that. And then there's the museums, and some are smaller, some are incredibly large. And depending on where you feel like you fit in, you might have like a different mental goal that's kind of attached to somewhere in those extremes. Well, like I said, for me, it would be a bigger space that has those four areas. And what needs to happen between now and then is I have to sort of imagine the space completely filled up. What would that look like, right? And so I can go room by room or maybe department by department, and I can kind of write down a list of like, these are the things that I would love to see in there. And these are the things that I think the public would respond well to, so that the business actually works. And once I have that sort of figured out in each one of the major departments, then the question is, well, do I have all that stuff today, or is that something I would need to work towards? And there's some things I think that could be done today, but I definitely don't have all of the pieces ready to go if I wanted to move in. So I don't need to worry about having all of that right now, but I do need to think about taking steps towards that goal. So day by day, I am making more and more art, and I'm realizing that my vision is getting bigger as I go. One thing that started to stand out to me was in our area in Kitsap County, we don't really have a large number of galleries. We have a handful of really nice ones. A couple of them are self-represented galleries. We have some co-ops, and then we have some smaller scale things that are, maybe it's a partial gallery inside of some other type of store. So, but there's not like a large number of those. If we travel into Tacoma or Seattle, the numbers increase, but the reality is all across Washington State, there are pockets of places that have a few galleries here and there, but it's not like Starbucks, right? They're not like a gallery on every corner, so to speak, and there's not a gallery in every Albertsons. So there's probably an economic reason for that in terms of like how much art do people believe can sell quickly enough in order to keep that type of a business alive and open. But what that means for me is when I've toured and taken a look at things, I realize there's a lot of galleries that, you might only have 4 feet to display your work in. And so you don't have hardly anything that can get fit into there. Some galleries give you a little bit more space. The really high-end galleries like Foster White in Seattle, they represent a larger number of artists and they have a much bigger space, and they've been in business a long time. Probably one of the top galleries in the whole state, I would imagine. So things look different at that level. The work is a different caliber probably, and the pricing points certainly are much higher than you're going to see at local galleries here. So the thing that starts to stand out though is there's like a level of artists where it feels like we're all kind of copying ourselves, and the work is somewhat of the same size and some of the same subjects, and in some ways I feel like that's the level I've been playing at since I started painting again in 2018. But when I look at some of the most famous artists that are working today, like James Jean or Damien Hirst or these kind of names, if you look at their shows, they are doing things at such a higher scale of execution and ideation than what we find in a local co-op gallery, for sure, right? So what's the difference between those artists and this sort of tier? And I'm like, well, man, part of it is that it's the level of that idea and the level of that execution that is really starting to separate the most famous artists in the world from the lower tier, for sure. But as you go gallery to gallery, you start seeing people that are filling in some of those middle tiers too. So like I think there's a lot of levels that are happening inside the art world right now. And I think everyone probably has some idea of where they would want to end up. But I think part of the reason it's so hard to get into galleries that are out there, number one is there's not that many of them, relatively speaking to the total number of artists. So there's only so much physical retail space, and the gallerist has to have some level of certainty that the work will sell if they put it in that space so that they can pay their overhead and their staff, and hopefully make some sort of a profit at the end of the day. So it makes a lot of sense to me, the more that I've done this, why it is so hard to get into galleries. So I've sort of decided to take a little bit of the Damien Hirst route and represent myself. But what that means is there's a lot of work I would need to do and do differently in order to improve my results. I'm not going to say that I'm going to ever be as famous as Damien Hirst. Who knows? I really I don't know what to expect on that. I think I'm really just in a race against myself and to see if I can do the things that I would like to do. Because I don't feel like we have any real control over what the public thinks of any of our work. I think we just do our very best and put it out there. But I think the big thing that I learned from watching those guys and what they are accomplishing is sometimes the paintings are just physically bigger, like the physical scale of them. But if it was just that, then everyone would just do that, right? So it's not just that. It's actually, I think it's the full body of work that they bring to life. And for me, I think that I'm at this place now where I am ready to kind of move it to another level. I definitely want to finish the series I'm working on now, but kind of after that, I have some ideas that I want to bring to life in a new body of work. And what it's going to require is for me to think bigger, to lean into my dream a little bit more, think a little bit bigger, and figure out what actions do I need to take to bring it to life. And so that's really what I'm doing during 2025 is I'm teaching a lot of classes. I'm running a campaign to help lower the cost of classes for kids and senior citizens, but by basically fundraising the way I used to do in the nonprofit world, trying to find 100 people willing to give me $100 to significantly lower the price for these people. It's needed in our community significantly. I enjoy doing it. And being on the teaching side of the table helps me learn faster. And so it's like, it's a huge win-win-win. And it's so much fun to do it. But I also want to use the space to make my own projects. And I am definitely trying to get this first series done for the year. And then I have hopefully 2 or more that I can get done with the rest of 2025. And I'm going to just start doing my own shows. I tried looking around our entire area to try to figure out where could I do a show at. And there's one really nice gallery with really nice people in it, but I feel like the business side of the equation is not good for me. And so I decided against that one. The reality is I have more space in my own studio than the space I'd be renting and giving up a third of my sales revenue for. So I think I'll just bring them here, right? So anyways, as I accomplish these little goals, in theory, I should be able to take this next step. And maybe after the next year or two, get a little bit bigger space. And then if that goes well, maybe add a section, right? But eventually, I think I can get to the point where I have this business that has these 4 departments in it. And then what would be really fun for me would be if I had more than one, if I had a couple of them spread out in different cities where new audiences can discover the work that I'm trying to make and put out there. So it's a lot of work. They're big goals. It's a lot of fun for me to think like that. And I realize that everybody that I've met that's an artist has different goals. But we're all trying to figure out our own definition of success, and we're all trying to move to that. And so I think the thing I want to leave you with before I end this video is just, if you can write down the things that are in your heart, the things that you're thinking about, and think as big as you can, right? As whatever the biggest idea that you have that you would find value in, some worthy pursuit, something you really want to go after. Write that down. Write down kind of where you're at right now, and try to identify the differences between where you're at now and those places. And that gap will help you identify the goals that you need to accomplish step by step to start moving in that direction. So the thing about finding a gallery that would represent you, for example, if you wanted to go that route, is most likely you're going to have to work on building your own audience for a while. Do your work, do as much work as you possibly can, show it as often as you can, get some evidence of sales under your belt, and make a little bit of a name for yourself, one patron at a time. And sooner or later, I think galleries would probably approach you and say, can we represent you and bring you in? We think that your type of work may fit our gallery really well. I don't know if that's how that works. I kind of assume that it does, because every other industry, you have leaders in it that are trying to buy inventory to put in their stores, right? So I'd imagine to some degree it works the same way in the art world, but it would make sense to me that they would want to have evidence that you're going to be able to sell before they bring you in. So if your goal is to get into a gallery, I think that that's a great goal. And I think that all you need to do is take an inventory of where you're at right now and where that is and work backwards. And I think you can pull it off. I think you can make your dream come true. So I don't know if this helps anybody, because I think we're all kind of in it together. We're all trying to figure it out together. But man, I think from like a bringing your dream to life thing, we've done it in other areas of our life so far. And it seems like that clarity of vision, that persistence, and then just knowing what actions to take. And if we didn't know, we asked people. But all of that, what that's done is it's brought us to where we're at today. And if that vehicle worked to get us here, I think that same vehicle can drive us to wherever destination that we set, if that makes sense. So, man, I say if that makes sense a lot. I apologize for that if you watch a lot of my videos and you hear me say, does that make sense? I think it's like a nervous tick. I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for subscribing. If you liked it, please hit like. My first goal with my YouTube channel is to try to hit 100 subscribers. And I think I'm at 30. This is a brand new channel. So thank you for watching this. And please do that. That really helps me out as a content creator on YouTube if you'll like and subscribe. So thank you much. Bye.